This one is going to require you to suspend disbelief and use your intuition. We're talking about Billy Meier, perhaps the most controversial of all contactee cases on record. Michael Horn is his liaison to the English-speaking world. A one-armed Swiss man with a colorful history, Meier is said to have been contacted by beings called the Plejarans from the age of 5 until present time, a span of several decades. While many would dismiss such claims, some of the facts surrounding the case cause pause for thought. In an archive of over 24,000 pages of documented contacts, information given to him about future events has often turned out to be remarkably accurate. His life story has been documented in a film called The Silent Revolution. And one truth that surfaces again and again is that Billy was no ordinary man. Billy Meier is certainly one of the more enigmatic and controversial people in this entire arena of ufology, as they call it, but that's not really what it is. It's really about passing through wisdoms that serve humanity. From everything that I've seen, reading some of his papers through the years, and certainly have not read all 24,000 pages of them. But let's talk about this man and how this was initiated with him, because this contact started very early in his life. Can you just launch right in on that?
Sure. As I recall, and there's a lot to recall in Billy's whole story, he was about 5 years old, living in a nice rural part of Switzerland, beautiful country that it is. And I think he first started to receive telepathic messages from a voice, a grown man's voice, that he understood in his head, and it was a little perplexing. And one day, as he went out to play, and there was a forest adjacent to his home and property, and he went out into this forest, and there in a clearing was a pear-shaped craft sitting on some form of struts or what have you, and standing in front of it was this elderly-looking man who appeared to be about 90 years old, and what Billy said at the time reminded him of illustrations that he'd seen of deep-sea diving suits without the helmet. He felt no fear in the man's presence. He, as a matter of fact, felt that it was very safe and comfortable to communicate with the man. And that began, excuse me, a series of contacts with this man whose name was Svath. And those contacts initiated initially telepathically and then conducted physically as well as telepathically thereon for about 11 years. Now, these contacts took place outside in a meadow or field. They took place on board Svath's craft and also above the earth in different places that Svath supposedly took young Edward Albert Meier to show him different things, different places. He was introduced to people who either were or would become major players on the world stage when he was still relatively young. He met Mahatma Gandhi, was the first person, and this man Svath had given him to wear at these times a small translator device that would clip on either a shirt pocket or be fastened on him some way. So when he would meet people whose language he didn't speak, they could speak to each other and understand each other. So they could speak to him in their native language, he would understand in his own language, he would speak and they would hear it in their language. And
that's mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. And when he tells the story in the film, I mean, it's very matter-of-fact to him. This was his experience. So right. Though in the early stages of these experiences, it was a bit even troubling to him. He wasn't sure if this was something he should do. So he confided in the parish priest, who was Father Emanuel Zimmerman. And Father Zimmerman was a man who had been apparently